Today, we get penetrated.
Ken Susi teaches us about bidets and shares his pronouns.
Conspiracy theories with Ken Lincoln.
America owns the moon.
Talked a little bit about Asley dying, unfortunately, and space was cool.
So much Kenergy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Susi. Look at him fucking around over there. He's not paying attention to shit. There he is.
I'm too busy looking at honkers on Instagram.
What's honkers?
Yeah, what is
Honkers is a clown lesbian couple on Instagram that just goes buck wild on each other, which I think it's cool because they're in clown paint. I haven't subscribed to their OnlyFans, but I'm just like interested in talking about honkers right now. But the problem is that you look at honkers on your Instagram and then you have a general feed, and then now I have a ton of clown porn, I guess, like Instagram porn. Not porn, but
dude, you
it's
like naked
stuff.
juggalos. It's so weird, dude. It's like a weird fetish.
It's cool. I'm into anything. At this point, anything will do.
Clown anything's weird.
Oh, in Massachusetts, like,
oh, you can be a clown on the West Coast?
I don't think you can be a clown on the West Coast. I don't think people use that like how we use it.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
that's probably good too.
Yeah. A very important person in this room once told me that the music business is young man's game and an old man's business. That was Jim Foster.
We quote you all the time. Dude.
Yeah.
All the time.
And that is translated very well into my 40s.
Yeah.
Frank. Music's a young man's game. It's an old man's business.
Jesus.
Perfect, right?
Yeah, not bad, Frank. Fucking. Any other quotes? No. What else? Are we gonna get into aliens or any shit?
If you guys want to talk conspiracy theories, I'll just throw it out there.
Conspiracies?
Conspiracy theories from Ken Lincoln. So my theory is, I have a couple theories on a lot of different things, but I'll start off with this one, let you guys talk about. Spending a lot of time on the road, you see, like, you walk the streets and, you know, you're always like sightseeing or going to get food with your friends, whatever. But there's always a bum somewhere screaming. Like, out of nowhere, and you're always like, man, where's that guy come from? What does he do? I actually know. The government years ago, I believe in the military, that you could bypass your eardrum and go. You could basically hear things through your jaw, right? Mm-hmm. Just like I think it was Beethoven, right? He's the one who went
bone conduction.
deaf. He used to stick a fucking
There it is.
He used to stick a fucking metal rod in his fucking. It was connected to the piano into his teeth, and he used to play so he could hear, right?
Little known fact, it was 2 metal rods. The other one was in the
Yeah,
bench.
exactly. Yeah, this one goes in your butt. This one goes into your ear. No, anyway. So I believe that they are communicating with the future, right? Or an alien spacecraft. So those people, if you don't want to change the future, right? Like Back to the Future, right? You have to be a complete fool or not cause any type of you can't tip off, you can't change the world, right? In any way, shape, and form. So you just stand there and scream and act like an asshole so no one talks to you. So they are actually transcribing like what they're seeing, like, to outer space for the future. You know, they're like, this guy's driving a car, blah, you know, just saying.
It's
stupid
interesting.
shit.
You're giving them a tremendous amount of power. I go the opposite direction. You're so compassionate. I look at them as like if you're playing Grand Theft Auto.
Well, another guy in this room
Was that wrong to
said,
say?
you never know when you walk into an establishment who the owner is. It could be the janitor. So with that theory in mind, the guy who's screaming on the street is probably the most important person in the universe.
No, but that's funny you say that they can see the future or whatever. There's probably no doubt. Like,
not see it, they're from it.
Well, they showed it pick a shitty vessel to land in, I'll tell you.
Well, or what if that's what scrambled their brains?
Right, but if someone told you can go to the future, or the past, but you can't change the future, so you have to like just stay under the wire, but you have to be in plain sight, what would you do? You would act like a fucking clown.
I think it's Occam's
screaming
razor.
And shitting all over yourself.
Bro, it's Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is probably the truest one, and that is that these fools are out in California, Florida, whatever, fucking tumble bumming out in the hot sun. You ever drop an egg on a hot piece of pavement? What do you think their brains are doing inside their little skulls? Their skullets.
The
their
same as
skillet
ours.
heads.
The same as ours.
So you think so? So every day out in the blasting sun, you don't think that egg's getting cooked a little bit more? I mean, really?
Well, these guys are, I don't know, they go through some type of goo treatment when they have to go back to the future or some shit that repairs their body.
Yo, speaking of that, you ever see that viral video of the bum that was so dirty and nasty under a tree on the ground with other bums everywhere, but he sat up and someone was filming him and he just broke down the New World Order so fucking hard in the bank. You ever see that video?
No, that's the guy Ken's talking about.
That's pretty much. That's probably
is that the guy you're talking about?
Yeah, but he fucked up. He told.
Yeah, he had to go.
So they probably annexed him from the future.
Well, he's now the guy just screaming at cars.
Wait, so you're saying that they were originally in the military, and their job was to time travel, and then the one stipulation was they were just going to get dropped off at some time.
If this refrigerator over here to my right was a portal to the past, and we were going to go see Jesus Christ, but you had this like mechanism in your job where you could communicate with us and tell us everything that you see, you would be like, oh my God. Like you would say the stupidest shit. You'd be like, this guy has a horse. This is a camel. Oh my God, there's Jesus right over there. You would just be saying everything that you see and acting probably crazy so no one comes up to you and says
that's 12 monkeys.
Yeah, I'm still going to go with probably just completely had too much aluminum over the years and cuckoo.
Yeah,
but I mean, you're probably right.
But the time travel shit is crazy. You ever heard of Andrew Basiago?
Who's that?
He's the time travel guy. And he's not, a crazy homeless person. This guy's got credentials.
He probably dresses a homeless person when he gets places.
Maybe.
What happened? What did he do? Like, how did he do
Foster, you don't remember this guy?
I don't know yet.
I mean, the whole time travel thing, it's crazy. There's so many paradoxes when you really get into the quantum physics of it. It's kind of nuts. But it definitely exists. You know why it exists? Because it will someday, which means it's always existed.
That's right.
Well, I have two theories on space travel, right? So this kind of correlates to what you're saying. I think that I think it's the United States, right? We landed there in the 60s and that weird fucking stovetop fucking popcorn machine, the Jiffy Pop machine, and they happen to get a doom buggy and all that shit. Like I don't believe
from Home Depot, it looked like.
I kind of don't believe that the moon landing happened, but I'm also kind of like I have to believe it or else I sound crazy. So let's just say that it didn't happen. I think like we haven't really landed there since, I believe.
Well,
I think other countries.
There's a lot going on when you say that.
Well, yes, but what I'm trying to say is that internet was invented, and look how far we've taken the internet from like, the early stages of dial-up to like, AI and all that crap. Like with artists, like, going to the moon, we haven't like colonized it yet since the 60s. I find that particularly strange. So it's either A, we've never been back to the moon, or they figured out something where we're like beyond the moon. Right? Like we're flying spaceships like Star Trek and shit's happening. We just don't know. So it's one of the two, but my wife fucking can't stand the fact that like all I do is just shit on the fucking moon landing. Cause it's stupid. Well, even back then they had film, like film cameras, right? So if you remember the actual film of the guy going like one step for man and fucking sucking dicks, whatever, and he's climbing down the ladder, that vantage point of the film camera, you would have to be pressing a button and filming it. And how did they know that film could exist in outer space?
Let's say you're completely wrong about all of it and just go right to when they're taking off. And the camera has fucking DJI drone tracking technology and films it as it goes up. That's how. And don't tell me it's real-time control from Earth
bullshit.
Because
literally yesterday we had a kid in the shop getting tattooed who claims his dad worked at NASA, was an engineer, and told him when he was young that the moon landing didn't happen when we were told it was. So basically that the film is faked just so that we could, have the illusion of getting.
What did he say? Not to interrupt you. He said his grandfather?
Yeah, maybe it was his grandfather. His grandfather was an engineer at NASA and told him crazy stories.
What happened? It didn't happen the way
we think it did. It didn't
like,
happen the way we
like. How do they even know? If there was gravity there, right, in order to land the ship, or how do they know that? Like, as you get close to the moon, like, how do they know like that you couldn't breathe? How do they figure all that out other than sending monkeys up there, right? 12 monkeys or whatever that movie is.
Yeah, they sent 12 monkeys. It's kind of ridiculous to think we know fucking anything, and it's kind of ridiculous to believe anybody did anything, and it's ridiculous to not believe it. So it's a real conundrum, isn't it? It's a little bit fucked up, but it's a conundrum. This kid's punning himself right to the... Listen, the thing that's fucked up, though, the footage looks bullshit. The dude's running and, like, falling and popping back up with mystery sauce. Looks like bullshit. The automatic camera, the instant no delay communication. There's so many things that I don't know what I'm talking about that seem fishy.
The guys, when they got back and were interviewed, the astronauts, Buzz, they looked like they were fucking hostages.
Yeah, they looked a little off.
I mean, I get it. They're probably,
why wouldn't they, right?
Right, but I don't know. Yeah, definitely some weird stuff. We'll never know.
It's just that usually when you are colonizing something, say like what was it, Lewis and Clark, right? Went from East Coast to West Coast, right?
Go here.
No, I'm just saying that it's manifest destiny, right? They're trying to, find new land, and they continue and they push on until, that boundary has been pushed all the way to the limit. So if the United States government went to the moon in the 60s, since then we haven't really pushed the envelope to colonize it or have a commercial flight there. By this time, it's fucking been like 80 years or some shit, or
right.
60
So
years.
you look at the technology we have here. Even if we didn't make it to the moon exactly in '69 when it was allegedly filmed, I believe we definitely did shortly after. We faked it so that we could have footage of us putting the flag in the ground, because from that point on, that means America owns the moon, so that we could then begin to colonize it or get bases up there or whatever the fuck we wanted to do with it. It's ours. The moon belongs to us. However, I think we eventually did get up there. Like even now, China is actively mining the moon for helium-3.
I have a good story about the moon backstage, though. It was pretty funny. So there was this, like, when you go to Europe, a lot of times, like, if you meet somebody from Germany, whatever, they always assume since you're American, you have a chip on your shoulder about being American, which we kind of don't really. It's also fun to play on that with a culture of people that get angry about everything about, like, America, just, Anyway, so there was this girl backstage, and one of the dudes in one of the bands was like dating her. And I met her, and I was being, very Ken Susi backstage. And we were talking about the moon landing. And then we started talking about colonizing the moon. She was just like, so because you landed on the moon, like you guys own this, like the United States owns it, and like just being a dick. Like I was obviously being facetious, but I was like, yeah, of course. Like if you can't reach it, it's mine, right? And and so she took huge offense to that, right? Got like real fucking pissed, and she just started barking at me, and I was like, just playing along, and I'm like, you'll never own the moon, whatever, get on stage, fucking whatever. So years later. I mean, when I say like maybe 3 years later, she just so happened to resurface. This guy wasn't dating her, and then he fucking dated her again or whatever. But I didn't know she was coming. So I'm sitting there eating like fucking gummy bears at a table or some dog shit, waiting to go on stage. And this girl was she must have been like drinking heavily or on some drugs, but she just came in hot in the middle of the room, just like, you think you own the moon? And she's screaming at me about owning the moon. 3 years later, just said to the dude, I was like, yo, you gotta like, scan your chicks a little better. This fucking crazy. This girl's crazy. I pretended like I didn't even know what the conversation was. Like you can't just run into a room with like 10 people and you start talking about, being aggressive about owning the moon. I feel like it's not a good look.
I'm gonna try it.
I'm like, you're gonna bang?
I've definitely done
I'm
that.
I like looking at the dude. I'm like, you're gonna bang this chick later? She must be amazing in bed.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. She's fucking Einstein.
I work for Fishman. I know you guys know that, but people that are watching, I work for Fishman, so I'm an artist relations guy. So in a lot of cases, I talk to my artists about various things and conspiracy theories or whatever. But like one of my artists, Steph Carpenter, he's a flat earther. Here's my thing about flat earth. And he went through every single step. I was just like, I'm rooting for him. I want the earth to be flat. So fucking everyone could eat shit and Steph would be right.
That's funny. I absolutely agree with you. I don't think it's flat, but I want it to be. Yeah. Like The Simpsons, right?
But I started watching some videos you sent me, and there was some like, I don't know, some correlations with like, you ever see the map of the UN? They were obviously
the
like
old map.
Yeah, it's like blue and it has like the earth kind of like flattened out. And they did that for perspective. You have to fit it on a flag. Yeah. But like there's some of these videos that he was sending me and the guy's like, see, this is how the earth really is. Jesus. And it's like, no, it's not.
You mean like the cut up globe?
Yeah.
version,
and then
so it's in sections kind of?
Well, no, it's just like a circle on a blue. If you look at the flag, it's just like the earth laid out.
Oh, right.
And then there's like, they say like that there's almost like a like an aquarium, like water filtration system, whether it's in or out or both on the North and South Pole. So all of our water kind of gets like filtered out. Like a Chinese, when you go to Chinese food, Rockwall, you know what I mean? Like you're like, these crab rangoons are good.
It's a classy place.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah. So it's kind of like the Earth works like that, and then it's like a show, like the moon and the Earth.
The Simpsons showed you.
How do they explain? I'm curious. Do you know how they explain? Like, how do you get night and day where half of the planet?
Yeah, it's a show. It's a production. It like literally
it's like a Truman Show.
It's a digital dome.
Picture laying on a flat surface and then everything happens, like the Sphere in Vegas.
But how could half of a flat surface be in darkness and the other half in light if it's a flat surface? You know what I mean?
Well, because there's the sunset and sun. You know what I mean? Like you.
Well, if it goes below the flat surface, then the whole surface would be
illuminated
in darkness, and then when it's
there
above,
might be I don't know. There might be like a governor on the side. You know. To
Again,
block
I want to believe it.
unless
but
it's a maybe it's a it's flat, but it's a curved,
I don't know.
like a contact lens or something.
I don't have all the answers, but
before I can get that deep, I'm apt to believe that none of it's real.
Nothing is
First,
real.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
well, if you don't remember before or after your life, like why do you even care if the Earth's flat or not? It doesn't even matter.
Why do you care?
Right.
Most people don't. And most people don't care about any of it.
Yeah, I'm just here to rock.
I wish I would hear a flat Earth theory though that made me actually question it.
You gotta go down the rabbit hole. Steph had a lot of good stuff on it, which I was like,
Did
man,
he
that makes
almost
sense.
convince you?
Yeah, but at that point, it's indoctrination.
When it comes to like beliefs like that, I believe the Earth is round. I know plenty of pilots that have seen the curvature. They've been up high enough to see the curvature of the Earth.
Of course.
But I'm going to say that I'm rooting for the flat earthers,
Right.
and anyone, the alternate thinkers, the people that I just want everybody to be wrong. I would find so much. I would be so gratified
Dude,
if
I'm so with you. I
everyone
don't
was
know
wrong.
why. I'm so with you.
Because you could just stand up and be like, "You guys are assholes."
Well,
I
I mean, it wasn't that long ago. They were super wrong about it not being flat. It wasn't that long ago. So maybe there's like another revelation of that magnitude.
I'm more of the mindset of if we do find out like it is right and you want to be like, you're an asshole, you want to point to somebody, everyone will start being like, oh, I never really like didn't believe. You know what I mean?
No, I'll say I was an asshole, but I was trying.
Let's talk about, this isn't a conspiracy theory, but human nature is pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah, nobody wants to be wrong. That's shit.
Yeah.
That's the COVID argument.
I told we were getting footage from Japan, China during before COVID happened here,
Didn't
and
come out of
Unearth
the
was
lab,
going to go on
retard.
tour, and I was like, guys, this is happening, and they're like, no, it's not. It's like fucking talking to Lamb Goat, and next thing you know, COVID happens. We're in Milan, and I'm standing out there fucking eating a McDonald's cheeseburger, watching hazmat suits and people fucking I don't know, what's that movie where there are assholes in mouths, right? What's that? The
Human centipede. I fucking said that yesterday. I said we need to take a photo here today.
That's how you beat
And
COVID.
I said, should we make one like Human Centipede?
Yeah, but I'm the doctor, and you guys.
I wanted to be the head.
Yeah, you guys are on the line. I want to be the
Canopede.
the human canopede.
No, he's gonna put that in his
so many
holster.
puns today.
No, it's all true. So,
But yeah,
the vindication, if it did ever happen, and it won't. But even if it did happen, the masses would be like, nah.
Yeah, no.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
So I was talking to your son. I was talking to my niece. So I'm talking to all these kids. Like, we're in Massachusetts, and a lot of the schools are kind of like, they're leaning a certain way of how they teach history. And when you say like, oh, a big wave has to happen, everyone needs to be taught. I really do believe that like all history obviously repeats itself because they're not teaching kids the right things in school or things accurately. Like, for instance, like Frank was trying to describe Franz Ferdinand or whatever his name is, his assassination, what caused World War I. And I was just like, it was kind of a bizarre take on it. And same thing with my niece and stuff like that. So all these people just believe whatever they're fucking taught in school. And then if it doesn't apply to them or if it's not in their, when they grew up, they kind of don't give a shit. Kids don't even know how to fucking dial a rotary phone. You know what I mean? And that's not too far. You know what I mean? That was like in the 80s.
I was just watching something on YouTube yesterday. Speaking of not knowing how to do things, someone just got accepted to UConn that can't read or write. They did a whole special.
What
and
does
then
he
the reporter sitting there, and he's like, so over here, you can't read any of this open laptops. You can't read any of this. She's like, no, I can't.
Describe
Does he
this.
method
Describe
act?
this person.
Regular, normal person. Just just a female, like young female.
Oh, hey.
They went to high school.
Let's not categorize people.
Oh, yeah.
You don't
Wait,
know
keep
what
going. I want
don't
to know more
misgender
about
people,
this.
Frank.
Yeah. Foreign young
Oh.
woman.
So why was
How'd you get out of high school?
If that's real, that sucks.
Dude, I'm serious.
Because kids like fight their whole like high school lives, like to get A's and stuff, and they don't
hold
get
on.
accepted to UConn.
Did she get accepted through scholarship, or are they like, congratulations, we're going to let you pay us to go to school here?
First of all, good for her because that school sucks. Second of all, yeah, good for her anyways. Like, milk that stupid system because it's broken anyways.
True.
I mean, I brought that up because you're saying that people just don't
Yeah.
They don't know anything. Or you got to learn. You got to know how to read and write.
I could speak into my chat GPT and have the answer to fucking anything.
Yeah, you don't
No,
need
that's true.
Yeah,
That's
you do. You don't need to fucking know anything anymore.
you do.
don't
You
need-
need to know
you
how to
do,
write
though.
so you can prompt in the chat.
Yeah, but
GPT.
No,
they
no,
don't
you
teach
speak into it.
cursive. First of all, they don't
Talk to text.
Well,
Yeah,
you
they
can
don't
talk.
teach cursive.
Yeah.
That for sure is.
That's fine though, but like, so you have to have you have to have the skills and the common sense to critically think. So taking math through, K through 12, that allows you to use ChatGPT or
What
think
if it was a
above
helicopter
and
mom
beyond.
that was like, fuck this? Or some uncle's like, oh, I'm just going to send this shit in.
No,
We don't know.
Maybe.
But I agree with you. If that's what happened, then that person is smarter than the other motherfuckers, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Like, because we just don't want to live in a society where everybody uses that shit. And then
shortcuts and
then we're
stuff.
watching, what's that show on Ouch My Nuts on Idiocracy or whatever? I mean, kids are smarter than ever. I know that I was just kind of downplaying it. And like, I'm just talking about like maybe history, but kids are smarter than ever. Like nowadays, I like with music and being like, not only are a lot of bands like their own business, but they're their own media team. And like big labels and shit don't even like they sign bands, but like the bands don't even really need it. And like I think kids are great now. Like they're entrepreneurial, they're advanced. People that are in like A&R offices don't even fucking understand how to promote a band as well as. I think it's just the culture has shifted in a really cool way. Like I think this is the Wild West of music and business, and
I also like that
all
it
that
didn't
stuff.
really exist. Like when Unearth started, that like entrepreneurs and bands, that wasn't a fucking thing. You'd have like usually some drummer or whatever would be like, logistically, I have us booked, and everybody be in the van by 7:45, and that was it. Like there was no like business,
Yeah, we got in a van like everybody else back at a time where metal was not really thriving. Right? You get Pantera, but after Pantera, like there was other cool bands, but like it's not like anything was mainstream. So we were just literally playing to see if like people knew the lyrics. We'd get excited if we like played somewhere and 5 people would like jump up and grab the mic while my singer was singing. So I was like, that was like the sickest shit. It ended up becoming a career and it was like cool. But I think some of the the cool aspects about it is that we were like a VFW hall band that went to a club band, then went to a theater band, then went to a festival band, and then went back to a club band, then back to playing like Revere Club Lido, but like
Totally.
You start and end all in the same place. But I thought it was cool. But now it's like I had someone hit me up the other day. I'm not going to name names, but he was like, "Hey, check out this demo," and I was like, "All right, demo's cool." And he's like, "Can you get them signed? Can you pass them off?" And I said, labels don't even sign bands unless if they're on TikTok and have 200,000 followers,
Or way more actually,
or more, 1 million or whatever.
Yeah,
but I was making a joke out of it because I was also like, but then they wouldn't even need the label.
That's why it's a bad business move.
Oh yeah, I'm just looking into like cyborg robot sex, like other shit, AI, AI for your penis. Music is over.
Blood-filled robots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just one AI NVIDIA chip that just focuses on the shaft, the balls.
Oh,
Nothing.
I wanted to bring
behind
this
it.
up.
Bumper
So-
below.
This is a rumor that the people need to know about. Didn't you design an app to know how much dick you laid across the planet, how much dick you slayed across this globe?
Yeah, it was called girlfriend mileage. I don't know if it's still up, but at the time I was just trying to I was trying to associate the fact that like when you buy a car, you're like, oh, like what's the engine like? How many miles are on it? Like that really helps you determine whether or not you're gonna buy a car. So when this like if you know this girl and like you're like, hey, like how many boyfriends you have and how long did you date them and stuff like that, you could literally just go, okay, well the average penis size is X. The average amount of thrust per session is that. You take national averages and stuff, and then you're like, damn, this chick fucking
Taking
drove
a lot
to
of
China from here.
Yeah, like 480 miles of dick.
Yeah, and it's a lot of dick. You know what I mean? You want to go from like, Grafton to Waltham and cock, use.
Yeah, you don't want to go to China.
No, you don't want to go to China. So I tried to invent an app like that, and it I don't know. It didn't really work out, but I thought it was pretty useful. I was using it all the time. Those conversions can be tough.
What's it called? What's it called? Penetration?
Penetration, yeah. Penetration.
Well, I guess the look on their face. I think I remember you doing it. We were trying to come up with the math one time at a party.
Yeah.
And the girls are just kind of like,
Yeah.
As you're like, and how many? Okay. Okay. Just kind of waiting. What's going to land on.
You could put in like, there was relationship mode, and then there was like the basic like, oh, I banged that girl 100 times. Okay, cool. Beep, beep, beep.
That's like
you could throw that in there.
Highway miles versus the stop and go traffic.
Yeah, the relationship one was like, how often did you have sex? Oh, we had sex 3 times a week. Okay, cool. How big was his penis? Like 40 inches, like whatever. And then it's like, and then it's like, yeah, how many? The thrusts were averaged in.
And this is why it's important to go to school to learn math.
That's why it's important.
Is. Math is important.
For safety.
Math is extra. Yeah.
Health.
How are you supposed to pick
safety.
your wife and your girlfriend or whatever if you don't have math?
Well, here at Truth Be Trolls, we absolutely follow the science.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think we figured out too that at least when we were talking about it at that party, at least we knew that everyone that was there made it at least to Western Mass or maybe to New York. I think that's what we kind of figured.
Has anyone made it to the moon?
Yeah, the United States owns the moon.
I bet Ken wipes from the front.
No, I have a Japanese toilet.
Oh, that's right. He's got a voice command Japanese Star Trek toilet.
Well, I always say this, like bidets are very important. It's probably like I leave the house knowing I'm probably 90% better than most people. And like my theory is that if you step in shit, your first thought isn't, I'm going to take a dry towel and wipe this off. You hit it with the fucking garden hose. Yeah. So that's what my asshole, that's the type of treatment my asshole has been
You know what changed
years.
me? It was Deadpool 2. There's that scene before the guy Cable shows up, and it's Matt Damon and some other guy, and there's the same exact thing where he said if you woke up in the morning and you had shit in your beard, would you just grab a dry paper towel and try to wipe it out? No, you would take a hot shower, scrub the shit out of it for 15 straight minutes with soapy hot water. But I like the garden hose.
The garden hose analogy is right, because you don't take a dry cloth and wipe your shoe, and then you're like, oh, I'm good.
It's crazy.
It's fucking insane. You guys are crazy.
But you were an adult. You were an adult by the time you realized how crazy it is to wipe your ass with dry paper.
Well, I was an adult. It was like 2006. I went to, 2001 or 2. I went to Japan, got a fucking toilet that like did everything for me, right? And then I would like be psyched. Oh, going back to Japan, I could wash my ass. And then I was like, why don't I just do this every day? Well, because it actually improved my mood.
Absolutely. But when you're out and about,
you carried yourself differently.
I did.
Carried yourself.
I did. And I'll tell you why.
I carry wet wipes around.
Oh, see, it's better, but it's not the same.
No, because you can't take your bidet with you. So like, if you had the shit, we don't have one here.
You could try. No. So where I realized that this shit, like bidets are insane, is that you sit like, okay, so have you ever shit and then like wiped your ass and then been like, man, I still don't feel right. Like I feel like I'm gonna have to shit later or whatever.
There's particles.
Right. I like can shoot water into my butthole.
Oh, it gets that last bit?
And then flush it out and a whole new shit comes out. And then I'm like, oh, I'm good all day. This is insane. And your brain actually, some pops in your brain where you're like, wow, life is different.
Do you come too?
No, I wish. I did once when I shit. I don't want to talk about that.
It's like an enema.
It is, yeah.
Daily enema.
Yeah,
I had a bidet. I mean, everything he's saying is totally true. Every once in a while, you're like soak the ceiling if you're not paying attention. But yeah.
Yeah.
Because it shoots like 150 PSI of water straight up your arse.
When my wife met me, she was like, she called her friends from my bathroom and was like, yo, this guy.
Ken's got poop all over the place.
No, this guy, his toilet cleans his ass. It's a fucking party toilet. His room's clean. She's like, I'm going to marry this guy. I was like, yep. Yep. My fucking house is clean and my toilet is fucking.
Yeah, it's because he's never there.
yeah.
Would there be a way that you could, if you wanted to prank somebody, have it spray like pepper spray or something?
I wish. That would be a sick jackass fucking thing.
Oof.
Let's talk conspiracy theories again. Oh, not conspiracy theories, but what do you think the first practical joke was ever? Someone was like, go get me some water, and someone farts in the pail and brings it back to them. You know? like I'm just trying to figure it out because that's a good point. Like, why wouldn't you fill your bidet up with chilies?
Mace.
With mace.
Have you ever been in a room where somebody fucking set up a
No,
little
but
bit of pepper spray?
No, but I was
unbelievable,
dude. But we were at a party once years ago on Mission Hill. Timmy and I think you were there, where the dude was cooking up burgers for the party, and he put crazy illegal hot sauce on it, and it smoked the apartment out. Dude, everybody was puking and running for the back porch and throwing up.
We got maced on stage one time by mistake. There was
Holy
a fight.
shit.
Yeah, there was a fight that broke out in I remember Vegas, and there was an industrial fan on the side of the stage, and whatever happened in front of us was just kind of circumventing back onto the band. And I remember playing, and like dudes in my band were like, you know what I mean, like getting up and leaving the stage, and I'm like, I'm not stupid. I'm gonna muscle my way through this. And then I was like, oh, thank God.
By yourself.
Story, Ken, you must have a story about shitting or almost shitting your pants on stage.
Oh no, I like
yes,
well, there's a couple things that have happened on stage, like where like I'm not I can hold my piss. They call me Camel Ken because like I can literally like Unearth guys. I used to fall asleep for like 13 hours in a van and never wake up for any reason because I just want to sleep through the misery of traveling in a fucking tour van. But anyway. I remember we all got, when SARS broke out in Toronto in 2000, whatever the fuck it was. I remember we all got wicked sick and we all thought we had SARS. We probably did or didn't. I have no idea. But I remember like literally puking in a barrel on stage and all that shit. But there was this one time in Europe where I ate something. I can't remember what it was. And I just kind of like wasn't feeling great. And I was like taking a shower in the morning and I looked down and there was like, it was like almost like a prison shower wherever we're staying. We're in like Latvia or something. And there was like shit. Like I was waffle stomping, like soggy shit. Like I couldn't even feel it come out of my butt. I'm like, oh man, I'm sick. This sucks, right? So then every 5 minutes, literally, I felt like I call it like Ethiopian belly. Your like stomach's massive. It looks like the kids on the shitty commercials where they're like, oh,
flies on your eyeballs.
And I'm like, oh my God. And it feels like, yeah, you have the biggest stomach and shit in the world. And then you go shit on the toilet. It's like a little squirt. And you're like, oh my God, I'm relieved for 4 seconds. So anyway, I was doing that all day and I told the promoter and I'm like, dude, like in Europe, there was a lot of hard toilet paper. And I told the promoter, like, go get me, here's money, go get me the softest fucking toilet paper ever. And the guy laughed at me like I was joking or I was a pussy. And I literally like threatened his life. I was like, dude, I'm not fucking joking. Go get me the softest toilet paper Europe has to offer, you fucking asshole. You know what I mean? So anyway, like literally I was like, I just told the guys like before the show, I said, listen, I'm going to like diarrhea constantly. So I'm not going to do it on stage. I'm, you know, at this point in my career, Unearth isn't fucking hot as shit. I'm not going to fight through it and wear a diaper. I'm just going to go shit when I have to. And they're like, yeah, whatever. So we started the set and like in the middle of the first song, I'm like, ran off the stage.
With your guitar?
No, I dropped I put my guitar down on the ground, laying it down, went off and shit, came back like mid-second song, and played the rest of that song. Song stopped. I just said, hey, everybody, I have diarrhea. They all started laughing. And I said, this is going to happen a lot. So I apologize, but I'm going to try my best. And they all were very cool about it. It was the whole night of just little squirts, but full belly.
You are my fucking hero, dude. You really are.
I don't care.
You don't give a fuck, and I love that shit.
I don't care.
You're talking about
it's a good rap name.
You're talking about shitting.
Little squirts.
I don't think you're talking about shitting. I remember you pissing in a bunch of...
Tell the story.
We were in New York. What venue was that?
Fucking.
Because you had to get home. You were like, yo,
Irving
man.
Plaza.
Yeah, come to Irving Plaza. We'll check the show out, and then dude, get me back to Massachusetts. I was like, yeah, we'll go see the last show.
You just drove up.
And I don't know what happened, but there was obviously way too many people in the dressing room, people wandering around.
But my techs were fucking up the whole tour, and they were being bitches. And like it was the big show, and my battery pack was like fucking dying on the guitar. My fucking bridge was like this. My guitar wasn't in tune. I never yell at anybody ever. And this time, like, they're all my friends, and I like fired all my friends after that show.
You went Tom Cruise.
Was that? But that wasn't because. But that. Why did you piss in all the?
Okay, so the reason for it is my guitar techs were fucking up, and like all the techs, like merch guy, everybody, they're bitching the whole time. Like it's just at a point where we called our old friends that used to work for us to come work for us after not working for us for a long time. So the band was actually super well behaved, but the techs were acting like goddamn rock stars. And like it really did affect like the last show. So you came up, which was totally dope. We were going to drive back and hang out. And then like, yeah, so there was a major party after the show and everyone was acting I fired everybody, slammed every door I could possibly find. And like,
wait,
I was like,
that the Protest the Hero show?
I can't remember.
Jimmy, you were there too.
You went there too.
You were there too.
Okay, I was there.
Yeah, that whole table full of like free beer.
Yeah.
There was like
it was all
we got a keg.
Piss?
Not all of it.
No,
but it was just
we got a keg, and I remember like looking at Frank, and I'm like, want to leave soon? He goes, yeah. I go, I can't stand anybody here. So I just started filling all the cups full of piss and put them next to the fucking beer. That was like, there was
How many cups were you able to fill?
Well, the first batch out of my fucking pistola was dark brew, darker brew.
Yeah, he's like looking at it and checking the color, and then
it was a lager.
sliding it into a bunch of other ones. That
Yeah,
were
and
there.
second cup was a little lighter, and I waited 20 minutes, drank some water, and pissed in another one. And I'm like, "You ready to go?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not comfortable."
I was like, dude, I don't want to be here when somebody grabs the piss cup, man.
Oh,
Get out of here.
Oh man, you didn't witness
I was just
tragedy?
pissed off. Yeah, I'd never done anything like that before, and I never like ever raised my voice to anybody that's ever worked for us ever until that moment. It was so fucking stupid. We were spending so much money, and I think our accountant came before that show and told us we were flat broke. So I was like, I've been on tour for 2 years and we're flat broke. That's cool.
Can we talk about why you quit your last band?
Yeah, sure.
Well, let's do it.
I've already done it a million times. So
yeah, good. Then I don't give a shit. Let's talk shit.
Yeah,
let's talk some shit.
Yeah. Well, as I said in my interview with Brutally Speaking podcast, it was just one of those things where, you know, the internet was right in the sense that they were saying, you know, how dare you align yourself with a guy who tried to murder his ex-wife and blah, blah, blah. A lot of people don't know, you know, I've known the guy for 20 years, always seemed to be a decent guy. You know, he did have that happen. And really, he was, when he got out of jail, he was on the apology tour saying that he was fucked up chemically and it was actions that most likely wouldn't have happened if he never got involved with X, Y, and Z. So I was willing to take a chance. At the time, I didn't have a band. And it was always in the back of my mind that he could fuck up. And I just never thought, you know, what's the odds of somebody, you know, something like that happening so drastically to somebody and then having them do it again. I thought the odds were pretty low. And
they're not, by the way.
Well, no, it is in a lot of cases because I have a lot of friends that have been incarcerated.
It's good to give the benefit of the doubt, but some shit is fucked up.
I've had friends that have been incarcerated and done horrible things and stuff, and that have fucking lived a straight and narrow life.
Totally.
And mind you, I mean, we're playing fucking festivals in front of, you know, 90,000 people and, you know, shows with 10,000 people. Would you really risk that over losing your mind at your girlfriend or some shit? But Tim, you know, in what I've witnessed and stuff with the band and what happened in that moment, he spit on his wife in my house, and it really opened up the floodgates to what else is happening behind our back. We had, you know, we always as a band had thoughts that, you know, something was happening, but we couldn't really pinpoint it. There were some signs, but once we figured out what happened, it was better to just cut it off completely.
There were rumors he was a Trump supporter and you just couldn't handle it.
Maybe. Really what's happening for me and the way I'm justifying this is that I did the right thing. I told the other guys in the band, and they made their own decision whether or not they wanted to continue with the project or not. At the time, we had like festivals and a tour lined up with like, you know, pyro and all this crap. And I said, you know, these guys might spit on each other in bed. I don't know. Like, I'm willing to do the one tour just so you guys don't go broke or in debt or whatever. And the band was just not interested. And you know, at that time too, I agreed. I was like, I don't want to do it, but I just said, this guy needs help. And he just, you know, in my opinion, the guy just built a persona about redemption and making people feel good about them, you know, about his situation, and he'll do anything to make anybody, whether it's a religious experience or
I know people
or
like
whatever.
that.
Yeah, he'll do
their
what
careers actually hinge on that, telling others how great they are for whatever reason.
Yeah, there was a tremendous amount of footage that leaked after the band broke up, which we were all surprised by, of him flipping out in his house, throwing tables, screaming, "Love me," and punching himself in the face.
Kicking a dog.
And yeah, you know what's really funny? There was this guy.
Yeah.
What the
fuck?
fuck?
That dog, unfortunately.
Well, there it is right there.
That dog, unfortunately, was, I met the dog. It was elderly with cancer. It wasn't like a pup that was excited and pissed on the floor or stuff. There was some serious stuff there. And I would never align myself with that.
Good.
I mean, I just had a fucking kid, and, you know, I'm willing to say, like, I gave up all this to do the right thing. I could have kept my mouth shut. I could have been like, oh yeah, beat your wife. I don't care. Like, I'm making money. I need to be a star. That's not the case for me. I did morally what was correct, and that's fucking crazy because I'm Ken Susi. But
that's a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, I've done my shit, but usually it's like with willing participants, not like abusing your wife every fucking day. And
I've told you that's exactly like his reputation.
Well, I believe in redemption. Like, I've known you guys for over 20 years. If one of you guys did something extreme, I would have to evaluate who you were after getting out of jail for 6 years or whatever, and I would make my own judgment as to whether or not we're friends moving forward. Maybe you're on a tight leash. I don't know. I just felt like I would be a bad person if I didn't give someone a second chance. But the funny thing is that in the aftermath of all of this, there's still people out there that defend him. This guy is, like, in my opinion, bad news. And, like, whatever you endured, I feel bad for, but it's not the same.
I've played in bands my whole life, and there's nobody I've ever played with where I could say this guy's bad news.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, like I've been, if you think about, like, growing up in Massachusetts, where there's a lot of, like, I don't know, gang activity, and you know what the scene like is here. It was exciting, but it was also dangerous. There's a lot of those guys that are just cool as fuck, do bad things, and I would say that, like, this guy, in my opinion, is well calculated, very calculated, will do anything in order to survive. And I just think, if he just announced the tour and he's going to go out and do it again with probably a bunch of YouTubers and stuff like that. I think in his brain, he just doesn't think that he is ever guilty of anything or wrong for anything, and people will just forgive him. So it's up to the fan base to decide, will you stop this type of behavior? He'll beat down your door in order to convince you that, I'm a liar or whatever, or this guy's a liar or whatever. And I have text messages are painted in any direction. And, like, he happens to have the same management now as Exodus and Testament. And, like, that's sad because, like, those guys are all amazing people. I don't know what they think of it, but, like, their management, like, supposedly has done some wrong stuff alongside of him, and they're aiding and abetting him. But I guarantee, like, if those fucking shows fail, you'll see that management won't be around too much longer to support his shenanigans.
I cannot imagine Alex Skolnick putting up with that kind of shit.
Well, right now they're technically signed to, I love Alex, but they're technically signed to the same management. I don't know if it's the same manager within the firm or whatever, but, like, I would hope those guys would just take a look at it and say, do I want to align myself with this guy currently right now while my management company is focusing on building this guy's career when he's done so much wrong for so many people?
You can't step in shit and take a dry cloth and wipe it off.
No.
And it's the same when you do dumb shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he has around everybody on tour, he just kind of sits there and he's quiet and docile and stuff, and you'd be like, oh, he's kind, whatever, he's nice, I met him, whatever. But then there's guys that are on tour that come up to me and say, hey, this guy was inappropriate with my girlfriend, or hey, this guy was doing this, or I saw him and his wife doing that. And there's some major stuff that was a problem. And, like, to be totally honest with you, I know what he's saying about me. He's like, oh, Ken's only popular if he's talking about me or whatever. I don't give a fuck. I don't even care if I fucking play in a band ever again. All I know is that, like, I ain't getting involved with people like that in life or in business, because in my opinion, he's a fucking not a good person. I just had a kid, and as you know, your wife was looking at my wife's vagina. It's pretty tight.
Well, the lack of context is disturbing, but yeah.
They got under the hood together and pushed that baby out with me in the room. But no, I was gonna say I have to set an example, and that example is, hey, look at what your dad used to be, and this is why I gave it up. For, I can talk about Unearth, I can talk about this. I won't talk about him now here, but to my son, he's going to know exactly why I made the decisions, because it's an important lesson. Some things are more important than fame and money.
When your kid's like 16 and he discovers the Unearth DVD, he's going to be like, my fucking dad is the man.
Yeah,
and you don't want him seeing that other kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but find your OnlyFans too.
No, next to the
Only Ken's.
No, he'll find the Unearth DVD, but right next to it is a Serbian film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, be with someone else.